Welcome back everybody to episode 12 of Love Hurts. Today I've got a Japanese film called Audition. Audition is directed by Takashi Miike. If you know his films, you kind of know what you're getting into when you're watching this, like gory, stuff like that. In case you don't know what Audition is about, Yoshikawa, a film producer, convinces his widower friend Aoyama to hold a phony film audition to meet new women. Reluctantly, Aoyama agrees. During the interview process, he falls for Asami, a beautiful ballerina with a suspicious past, and their courtship veers from polite romance to an unthinkable nightmare, not romance. Got mixed up there. This film opens up on the death of Shigeharu Aoyama's wife. I apologize if I say any of the names wrong in here. So the death of his wife sets the sad and emotional tone of the film. It's also interestingly cross-cut with the happiness his son is feeling going to give his mom a gift. The framing is perfect in the film. I kind of feel a connection with this film due to the fact that it follows a filmmaker and all that. Won't get into too much details, but if you watch the film, you can kind of pick up on little things that could connect me with that, if that makes sense. The cinematography is very well done, feels very naturally acted and written. The editing is great and doesn't seem like it's over or under edited. Chemistry between Aoyama and Asami Yamazaki feels very real and natural. The lighting feels real and natural as well. The color palette looks natural. The tone changes a little bit the moment Aoyama enters the piano studio. And what I mean by that is, like, beginning of the film has almost like a sad tone to it, and then I believe it's a subtle shift in tone when he enters piano studio, and then it slowly goes into the more horror aspect, which is really interesting. All of the elements of the film are well balanced with each other. Even though there's computers in it that seem dated, in a way it almost doesn't feel dated at all. At one point, the film kind of gets a little hard to follow, but the more times you watch it, the better understanding that you'll have with this particular scene. When Aoyama falls in his house, I believe, nearing the end of the film, we're shown like a different side to a previous conversation that may or may not have happened, but I think it did happen. It was just saved for this portion of the film. It's a conversation with Asami, and it gives her a traumatic backstory. Over here in North America would be basically the way we view things is very different than the way Japan views things. So this particular scene shows something that is commonplace, I would say, or something along those lines. It's more common in Japanese culture. Now, I could very well be wrong here, and then here it's seen as, I think it's misogynistic, something along those lines. So the film gets weird at that part and then starts showing more of the horror elements to kind of rush you to get to the present, essentially. So it's rushing to give you backstory, but it feels natural in its ability to do that. This is just how I viewed it when I watched this. I didn't see it as a bad thing that the film kind of got hard to follow and a little bit weird, showing all these different angles to previous conversations. I saw it as part of Aoyama's mind, which may or may not be the right way for you to view the scene. I don't think the director views it that way, but maybe it's a scene, one of those scenes where it's up to the viewer to decide how they view that scene and understand that. The visual effects of the film were very well executed. I can't remember exactly the creepy line that Asami says. It sounds like kitty 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 or something like that. Audition is, I would say, one of my top 10 films of all time because of my connection to it as a filmmaker. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why, and overall it's just a very well done film. It's not like the typical film that I like to watch, but it's got a decent story, like a good story behind it. All the elements just blended perfectly together, I found. If I were to give Audition a rating, probably be up there with a couple of the other ones that I've rated a high rating. So I'd probably give this one a 9.6. Off the top of my head right now, I can't remember any issues I had with the film. Maybe the misogynistic scene or something like that. It was necessary for the story, so it's sure it might be a negative point, but at the same time, it's part of the story and it's part of what makes the story great, I guess you could say. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but I don't think you can find a digital copy anywhere. I mean, on streaming services, you might be able to find it on YouTube. If this film sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would definitely highly recommend it if you end up coming across it. It's a typical Japanese horror film. It kind of starts out slow, a slower burn type horror film, and then it just hits you. Hope you enjoyed this review. Be sure to give it a like and subscribe, and see you in the next ones. See ya.